What I learned at the school, which was never mentioned in the hearing, was that the kid came back to the landlord's house the same night he fixed the car. He wanted to talk to the landlord about the money. The landlord not only called the police, but told him he literally smashed right through his door. There was never any damage to his door, so that was a lie. The cops took the kid home, which is also strange, because why would they have needed to ask me who the kid was after the tire slashing? And of course the security cameras from across the road showed someone, apparently slashing the tires, which disproves my dad's theory that the tires were never slashed. Why would the same kid come back a third time? I don't know. We'll never know who it was for sure. Here's a post about me filming out in the driveway. The house wasn't even in the shot. And then he came out saying that I was filming the house and I can't do that. My dad was on the news that same summer because he had narrowly escaped the serious forest fire at the Boston bar. And the news sent a guy over to interview him in the backyard and had a camera. And the landlord tried to get that guy to not film on his property. There is no breach of contract. The stuff outside, there's nothing in the contract outside about stuff outside. He's saying that he doesn't want stuff outside, or it's in the contract, or a breach of contract. This is a contract he wanted to make but never did get made.
The side door from where they enter, the small entrance door, they have broken the lock and took the lock away. So I asked them to get it repaired, because inside I don't know much, because since many months they have not allowed us to enter the apartment. They have not let us enter the apartment since many months. On January 16th, I gave them the notice that we want to. No, time notice. Only 24 hours notice. I gave you inspection. And that was January 6th, so they did not let us enter, rather they started hitting us.
The next thing I have was about the breach and letting them enter in the inspections. The last 2 months they have not been in here. This is no fault of theirs or ours. It is not our choice. It was because of a no contact order that I was given. They're not supposed to come down here. The police told them that and they know that. That's another lie. They know that. Next.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the log damage. Now, I have supplied you a photo of the damaged log and the very conversation. Are you aware of these text messages, arbitrator?
Just continue, Tenant.
This is my continuation. I'm trying to say that these text messages are part of the evidence.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, thank you. I will rely on the evidence in the file. Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Are you...
And please explain what you would like me to, what in particular in the text messages would you like me to take note of?
I'd like you to take note of the part that I said, I don't know. I asked my dad, he doesn't know anything about it. That lock had been having problems from early days when we moved here, long ago. In other words, there was a string that operates it. You pull a string, it opens the lock. Many times it would get stuck in the lock and it would get jammed up. The lock was in bad shape long ago. It's called wear and tear. There was no taking of the lock. If anything, it fell off from whoever pulled it or broke it. It broke. Someone just gave it the last pull and it broke at one time. I don't know who it was. It wasn't me. It doesn't matter who it was. It was going to break anyway. It is not my responsibility. It's not anyone's but the landlord's.
Okay, let's pause for interpretation. Thank you, Tenant. I accept your testimony that the lock broke due to wear and tear.
The suite upstairs, they it sounded like they had some kind of washer they would use once in a while, even though they use the laundry machine. I don't know. There was something up there. I couldn't figure out what it was. Like, I mean, I don't know what I gotta do. I Olympic style weightlift. I'm 44 years old. You know, I play chess and Tetris, like not Tetris X. I haven't set up my Super Nintendo. I've learned Punjabi, how to read, speak, and write it on my own. I play guitar. I make songs up. I edit these videos. Even if they seem stupid, I still handle all the editing. I do a lot of technical stuff that most people don't have the skills for, and I do. I'm not trying to say I'm some hero or nothing. It's like I'm not the most disrespectful citizen. I don't do drugs. I drink some beers once in a while on the weekend. Yeah, I get drunk every now and again, but I don't sit there. I'm not some alcoholic. You know, I don't believe in drinking and driving and things like that. I even look both ways before I cross the street. I like when people can use a turn signal to turn. It's good. A lot of people don't use turn signals. I'm very adamant about all this stuff. I wash my hands before I eat. I don't like being dirty, although my surroundings could use some work. I'm very honest about stuff. You don't have nothing to worry about with me. You're going to be safe with me. If I made food for you, it's going to be good. East Vancouver renter Dylan Kadar is facing a similar problem. Kadar said his problems began at the end of June when his landlord said he must pay $50 on top of the rent for using air conditioning, just like my landlord, for using the heater, for turning fans on. He was worried about the laundry, so he started reducing time. He was trying to nickel and dime every little thing he could. That's what some of these people are. When he refused to pay the additional $50, he said the landlord told him he had to move out. When you go back to the maximum rent, we all know about increasing the maximum rent. You kick someone out and make a new rent, make a new price. She gave me 2 illegal eviction notices in the following days, Kadar said. Then she gave me a 2-month eviction notice for the landlord's use of the property. I applied for dispute resolution, probably didn't win that. National rental report released in September indicates the average monthly rent for one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver surpassed $3,000. The report says some landlords are choosing to evict their current tenants and rent the properties at higher amounts. This is all money. It's like treating people like just objects so you can sell, like just commodity.
And that's what I was going to say. It feels...
You may have filed a previous application, or your
this whole... Yeah, no.
Might have been...
No, this is about...
The landlord's access?
No, this is about the access is about harassment. This originally was an attempt at a enforcement and compliance thing, and that didn't work, so I had to do a dispute resolution to do this, right? And then I made the complaints on December 13th, and I had till this time of the hearing to file more evidence, in which I did. The eviction and all these other things came in between that, and they were amended. They much after, and they all seem to fall just suspiciously in place with this because of this. They were amended to this. That's why I'm concerned is why we're talking about this. This is a later chronological aspect, and this is all part of the same hearing.
Kadar said his landlords claim they want his room and the whole apartment back so they move in. But he said since July, the landlords have rented out the 2 other bedrooms to new tenants. I asked the new tenants to provide their leases and noticed the landlord had raised the rent for both bedrooms by a couple $100, Kadar said. The leases stipulated a minimum 3-month stay. For one tenant, that period ended in September, and their leases transitioned to month without an eviction notice. I feel stressed out and frustrated. I've been living at my current place for 2 years now. If a decision is made that I need to move out, I might end up on the street. Man, I was almost there.
Highlight on the fact that his inspections were giving me some problems, breaking code of residential tenancy branch, trying to force his way in physically right through me on 2 occasions and me defending myself, and then lying about hitting him and his wife.
Tenant is repeatedly late paying rent. Tenant seriously jeopardized the health or safety of the landlord. Tenant has not done required repairs of damage, breach of a material term. Those are the 4 reasons why the eviction was created. The tenant seriously jeopardized landlord safety. The tenant does not deny that an altercation took place between the parties on January 6, 2024. The tenant testified that the landlord swatted at them and knocked the phone out of the tenant's hand. And then the tenant pushed the landlord and the landlord fell on the steps. I like how they kind of leave out the part where he pushed me.
He tried to push his way through me.
The landlord says there was a fight between their wife and the tenant's father around January 22nd, 2024. Because they did not want the tenant to wash their car using the hose. The tenant says the fight over the water hose was on February 13th, 2024, that's because it was, and that the landlord's wife slapped the tenant's father. The tenant says there were no assault charges filed against their father. And based on this, there shouldn't be. You're not saying any reason why there shouldn't be. You're leaving out the part that I'm saying because apparently he punched the wife, as was said during the hearing, but they don't include that there. While both parties are responsible for their own actions, I find the tenant injured the landlord's person on January 6, 2024. While the landlord's actions may have potentially damaged the tenant's phone, it's ridiculous. They were looking for a way to get us out of there. I think they realized the violence was escalating. They could have enforced rules, but they didn't want to go that route. I don't think they were able to, and it was... I find the tenant's actions more harmful and dangerous. I note the tenant was charged with assault and the landlord was not. Well, that proves that I must have been guilty, right? I do not accept the tenant's argument that the landlord is to blame for the tenant's actions because the landlord provoked the tenant by the way they conducted the tenancy. Yeah, of course, like if he pushes me during the tenant, whatever. Even if the tenant felt provoked, they're not entitled to resort to violence. Like the wife slapping my dad.
The landlord attacked a kid while his wife beat the kid with a stick.
We have more concern about the security. They can hire someone to hit her, hit us.
I do not accept the tenant's argument that it was self-defense because I find on a balance of probabilities that the tenant used more force than necessary to prevent the landlord from entering the rental unit. Furthermore, the landlord has the right to enter the rental unit for monthly inspections when they get proper notice to do so. See what I mean? It doesn't matter what reasons you give them. They're always going to win that. They're always going to favor that the landlord is allowed to go there, even though they have rules that defend the tenant in those situations. Balance of probabilities, I find the parties have had numerous altercations and the situation appears to be escalating in terms of violence. That's interesting, escalating in terms of violence. And they said violence is a reason for expediting hearings, yet they couldn't do that with us before.
Please, whatever I did, I'm sorry. Just go. I'm sorry.